Welcome to Preach the Stories vlog number 4, or LenTalk 4, for the 12th of April, 2020. This is Easter Sunday. It is time for the Paschal greeting, also known as the Easter acclamation. So no hellos or highs or their equivalent on this day. We greet one another with "Christ is risen." And the response is, "He is risen indeed." In some cultures, like Russia and more Orthodox cultures, you would, after you gave that greeting, you would exchange a triple kiss of peace on the alternating cheeks. But we're not going to do that today, unless you want to do it with your family. But we greet you in the Paschal greeting, "Christ is risen." As you know, on Sunday night or Monday morning of every week, we post a new expository semiotics explaining why we would choose which lectionary readings. Now today, it's going to be somewhat easy because we're choosing the traditional ones of the Easter story, and that's John 20 and Matthew 28. But in these readings, our dream is, and our desire is, to help you read the signs and fondle the details and spot the seminal metaphors, the condensed signs and the stories that are key for preaching to a digital culture. So strap on your seatbelt and join us as we prospect our passages for today. Christ is risen. He is risen indeed. Happy Easter, everybody. Christ is risen. And in fact, Colossians 3:1 says, or one of the lectionary readings for the day, "You have been raised with Christ, so now set your minds on things above where Christ is." So what an incredible day. This is the greatest day in the history of the universe for Christians. This is the pivotal, the hinge of history. This is the pivotal moment. Christ said, Paul said, if this did not happen, all of our faith is in vain. So it's a day for celebration, a day for dancing, a day for jubilation. Even in the midst of this pandemic culture, we celebrate the greatest event that has ever taken place. Now, a lot of incredibly beautiful and wonderful lectionary readings for today, but I think for me, Easter's a time to get back to basics and just to retell the story in a whole new way, but it's the same old story. So let the old story become fresh and new and vibrant again. So the two major resurrection stories are in Matthew 28 and John 20. And so I want to start with Matthew 28 because there are things in here that aren't in John 20, things in John 20 that aren't in Matthew 28. So we need both of these. Like a diamond, it has multiple facets, but you need all those facets to see the glory and the grandeur and the magic and the dazzling nature of that diamond. So for this diamond of resurrection to dazzle today, let's look first at Matthew 28, and then we'll spend most of our time in John 20. So here we have, the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, as he said. So come see the place where the Lord lay, then go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead. And indeed, he is going before you to Galilee. There you will see him." Listen, I told you. Okay, what an incredible moment. So the angels appear to the women, but notice over and over again in the Bible, when the angels appear, there's nothing more beautiful than an angel. An angelic creature is the very essence of beauty, divine beauty. Grand, glorious beauty. When they appear, the first thing they have to say to humans, that's you and me, is, "Don't be afraid. Fear not. No fear." So our human response to dazzling beauty and to the diamond that is resurrection is initially to step back a bit and go, whoa. And so we are all a little afraid of beauty. Beauty scares us a bit. And so there is this awe and wonder and kind of a trembling awe a little fear and trembling, as Kierkegaard would put it, that goes with resurrection. But and be prepared, because when others are seeing Jesus in you, and when Jesus is shining through you, and the beauty of Jesus is being shown through you, there may be a little backing off. Wait a minute, it's just too beautiful. I'm not sure I can handle all that beauty. So, beauty, the beauty of resurrection, the beauty of the angels, and our first response is to back off. But I want you to notice the words to the women by the angel. He is not here. He's risen. But come see the place where the Lord lay. So the angels want the women to come and to enter the place and to see where Jesus was laid. But then they say, now go quickly. In other words, don't stay too long and worship this space, which is now here empty, but go quickly and tell the disciples that he has risen from the dead, and he's going before you to Galilee. There you will see him. You want to find Jesus, you don't go into the tomb. You want to find Jesus, you go into the world. So, an incredible passage, but let's relate this to the most famous of all the resurrection stories, which is in John 20. And notice how it begins early on the first day of the week. Early, when it was still dark. So early and dark. The power of these early and dark moments. And when nature comes alive early and dark at dawn. When you go on a safari, you don't go in the middle of the day, you go early and dark. Nature comes alive early and dark. You want to experience resurrections, you gotta open yourself up to the early and dark. Those mystical moments when night turns to day, dawn and dusk. Mary Magdalene went to the tomb while it was still dark and saw that the stone had been taken away from the tomb. So she came running to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved. Now, we often translate this "whom Jesus loved" as it's kind of a boasting a little bit, but no, it really. I grew up singing a song, "Jesus loves even me," and it was a song of humility that, yeah, Jesus loves me, but he loves even me. And I think this is more what John has in mind here. You know, the one whom Jesus loved even loved me, even me. So, the one Jesus loved, and said to them, "They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and we do not know where they have put him." So Peter came out with the other disciple, and they went together to the tomb. They both ran. So everybody's running. You get to say, the setting is really key here. Mary Magdalene came running first, and then she goes running back to tell the disciples, he's not here. He's not here. And then they go running, and there's a foot race. They both ran together, and the other disciple outran Peter and came to the tomb first. Now, John may be a little bragging here. Now, he wasn't bragging maybe before, but I beat Peter. But he's also admitting that stooping down and looking in, he saw the linens lying there, but did not enter. Simon Peter came following him and went inside the tomb. He saw the linen cloths lying there, and the cloth that was around his head, not lying with the linen cloths, but wrapped in a place or folded in a place by itself. So John's admitting here, there was a foot race. I won, but I got a little afraid. And Peter, just impetuous Peter, will always do this. He's always just bumbles and stumbles right in. And he enters this Holy of Holies, this tomb where Jesus had been laid, where the body was laid out. Okay, now I want you to picture this. See, to get these stories, to communicate them to your people in a way in which they can understand them, you got to make them into a motion picture in your mind. It's got to become cinematic for you. So you got to see this. So notice how, and it'll come up later too, to enter into a place of resurrection, mystery, they all had to bow. You don't get in without bowing. And a lot of people will never experience the mystery and the miracle of resurrection because they refuse to bow. and they refuse to bend. So you gotta humble yourself. You gotta bow. And in bowing, they come in, and what do they see? So where is Jesus laid out? Now, we know tombs in Jesus' day. First of all, the idea that there was a very nice circular stone, like a water wheel or something, and there's only 9 of those circular stones ever been found as doorposts or doorways into tombs, and they're all kings, royalty, high priests, so the very, very rich. So chances are it's just a ragged, jagged stone that's been stuffed up against the opening and just pushed into place. But here it's been blown out. It's been blown out. We learned about the earthquake in Matthew 28. So it's just been blown out. So they walk in. Now, the tombs in Jesus' day, they just didn't have one slab where they laid people out. You had multiple stones. And this was a new tomb, so they would have had multiple places for people who were dead and dying, most likely. And they all would have been the same kind of a slab. So you got a picture of the slab. What kind of a slab is Jesus laid down on? Well, we know what it is because when you were buried in a tomb in Jesus' day, you didn't get that tomb for life, okay? You got it for as long as it took your flesh to decay. And then when your flesh decayed, they collected the bones, and what you took home then was called an ossuary. And this is a little box, like we have ashes in urns. They had bones in ossuaries. And you took home that ossuary, which is all the bones collected and stacked. And that's where your ancestors were buried, in these ossuaries, and you took the bones of your ancestors with you. You took those bones with you. So if you moved or did anything, so you have a slab of stone that is going to decay the flesh as quickly as it can because they want that slab for somebody else. So what kind of a slab was it? Well, we know it was a limestone slab because limestone decays flesh very quickly, and it prevents the odor. It prevents the smell. So Jesus is laid out on this limestone slab. All right, let's get this picture. How big is the limestone slab? Well, we know basically it's about maybe 4 to 5 feet long and about 3 feet wide. It's elevated off the ground a bit, so Peter and John go in, and they see at either end of this limestone slab stacks of dirty linen, one neatly folded, okay, and one just strewn and scattered at the base, at the feet. But the one at the head, neatly folded. Did you get that? Are you laughing a little bit now? Are you just kind of saying, wow, Jesus, has Mary taught you well? The first thing you did as you got up off the slab is you folded your clothes. I mean, Mary is a Jewish mother. And so, but you could, Jesus, wait a minute. This is, I'm not doing this. So he scatters the other ones. But, well, who else folded them? I mean, they're neat. What a great detail. See, it's called the telling detail. Authors who write novels, they're all driven forward by the telling detail. What a telling detail about Jesus' relationship with Mary. And the fact that the promise of resurrection is a new heaven and a new earth. It's a new body. So we get a new body where we actually could fold clothes if we wanted to. But we don't need to. Jesus is the resurrected Lord now. But he's still folding at least part of his dirty clothes, dirty laundry. So you got these stacks at either end of this limestone slab, about 4 to 5 feet long, about 3 feet wide. And Peter and John look in, they see these 2 stacks. And then they keep running, and they run. But Mary stops running. And she stays outside and enters in with all of her mind, body, spirit, the confusion, the agony, the wonderment, the mystery of the moment. And when she bows down to look in, she doesn't see two stacks of dirty laundry. She sees two angels in white, right where the stacks of dirty laundry had been. Wait a minute. You ready? Peter and John, all they see is dirty laundry, two stacks, foot in the head. Mary sees what was really there to the eyes of faith that had been purified by the prism of her tears. She stayed entered into it with her whole being. And once those toxins, that's what tears are, they're sweat glands that remove the toxins and the poisons. So once they had been removed from her eyes, she can see what Peter and John could have seen if they had stopped running and entered into that moment fully and wholly. And she saw two angels. And she became the apostle to the apostles. Even the Roman Catholic Church gives her that title. She is officially, Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. Because she's the first one to preach the resurrection message. A woman. First one. So what stacks of dirty laundry are you looking at? They're really angels unawares. What angels are you missing in your life? Because all you're seeing is dirty laundry when God often appears most in the very dirtiest, messiest, most closeted areas of our life. If we just open them up to face them, not to run from them. Not to block ourselves from them, but to enter into them with all of our mind, body, spirit, and say, Lord, I don't understand. Give me the eyes of faith. And there they were. There they were. So the first one to have an angelic visitation. Not Peter and John. It was Mary, who saw what they could have seen if they had just stopped running and entered into the stillness and sacredness of that space and that moment. Now, it gets better. When people in Jesus' day would have heard this story and would have been told, it's not the written word back in Jesus' day, it's the spoken story. So they're circulating this, telling it. Nobody gets a manuscript and goes off in the corner and reads these stories. They're told in community. But when they heard this story, everybody would have thought the same thing. And we're missing it because we're not in this culture, in this first century culture. But let me come at it again. This is the tomb, the resurrected tomb. For us, this is the Holy of Holies. And in that tomb is a slab about 4 to 5 feet long, 3 feet wide. At either end of it are two angels who are telling Mary, he is not here. He's out there. Do you feel it? This is the Ark of the Covenant in the Holy of Holies, at which both either ends were angels, cherubim. And in the middle is the mercy seat, where the blood was sprinkled with a branch of hyssop. And that was where God was. That's where God appeared in that mercy seat where the blood was sprinkled. And only the high priest entered. The high priest only entered with a cord around his waist, because if there's any impurity in his life, he was smitten. And so they would come in and offer that sacrifice on that mercy seat, and God would appear in all God's mystery. And now, you see, no more mercy seat. No more. He's not here at the mercy seat anymore. The blood has already been shed. He's out there. You want to find God? You don't. And the stone was blown away like the veil was rent in twain. And the new place where you find God is not in some concealed, cloistered Holy of Holies. It's now out in the world. Or how does it say in Matthew 28, as the angels spoke to Mary, he is not here. Come in. I want you to come. I want you to come and see where he was. But go quickly. and tell the world he has risen from the dead, and he is even going before you. This is the world right now. We need to hear that God is already in this future. God is already ahead of us. He's in this post-pandemic future. He's in this world already in our future, calling us to join him. He's already there. Will you join Jesus and let him live his resurrection life in and through you? That is the power of this story. Now, just one more thing here to realize. I don't want you to miss this. And the reason why the church has refused to actually recognize what I just said is that that makes Mary not just the apostle to the apostles, but in this story, she's the new high priest, the one who enters the Holy of Holies and has the angelic encounter with God. What a great God we have. What an incredible day we celebrate. Christ is alive. We serve a risen Savior, but he's not in some place that is concealed and cloistered. He's even now in the world. The world, the virtual world. He's in the real world. He's in the world of your spirit. He's in the world of your family. He's in the world today. I know that he is living, regardless of what anybody says. Christ is alive. And Christ has raised you with him. You are raised with Christ. Happy Easter. Semiotics is the art of angling, of turning things askew, upside down, inside out, cattywampus, sunny side up, over easy, scrambled, hard-boiled. We hope you enjoyed today's journey into the Easter story. But always remember, it's more important you prepare the preacher than you prepare the sermon.